I can write anywhere. I can write curled up in a corner in a spare armchair in somebody's house. I write on the Madison Avenue bus. I write all over the place. Always have been able to. In the bathtub. I can write anywhere.
In the library?
I can write in the library. I write in the library I wrote a lot of Goldfinch in the New York Public Library, in the Allen Room of the New York Public Library, which was wonderful.
And is that because there's reference books, or what makes the public library so good to work in? I mean, I know a lot of writers would be, I imagine, horrified to be in a kind of public space.
I love if you need a character, all you have to do is look up people walking back and forth, and it's like being an artist sketching at a sidewalk cafe. The people walk on characters, everybody you need is right there. And, you know, of course, books, this was a book for which I had to read a lot.
But do you have a routine? If you're at home, for example, if you're in the countryside, do you have a routine? Do you write every day?
Every now and then life will intervene, but unless I write every day, and even if I have guests, I will slip away to my little room where I work, and always, yes.
And you're an inveterate note taker as well, then?
I do. I carry a notebook with me wherever I go, because if I don't write it down when I think of it, I'll never think of it again. And most of my notes are, Joan Didion uses the phrase, bits of the mind's string too short to use. And so many of my notes are just bits and bobs and little magpie gleamings and glintings, and they won't really ever turn up in any piece of finished work.
And what about at night? I mean, are you a night writer?
Oh yeah, I do. A night writer, I like that. Yeah, I do. It depends. If I've had a hard day, I'll quit. I'll knock off. I'll go do something else. But if I'm on a run, if I'm doing well, I'm like a gambler. I don't want to get up from the table.
You have written, then, if you're saying you write every day.
I do.
Then you've more or less written solidly for the past 21 years.
I have written solidly, yes, but I've written solidly in scraps. I mean, not every day do I sit down and write a tremendous block of finished prose, but I'm always fiddling around and writing little bits and bobs of things. And some days when I'm out and about and with my notebook in a pocket, it is only bits and bobs. When I say that I can write on the Madison Avenue bus, I don't mean I'm writing pages of finished prose on the Madison Avenue bus, but things will occur to me and I'll jot them down. And very often they're the germs of things that will become pages of prose. That's writing too.
Do you ever think you've made too many sacrifices for all these books?
It's not a sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice. I feel very lucky that I'm able to devote this amount of time to doing what I do, because it's what I think about all the time. I'm obsessed.
Are you really, though? You seem quite balanced to me.
You're encountering me when I've just finished a book, not when I'm in the middle of one. Maybe I wouldn't seem quite so balanced if you'd seen me while I was working.
In the same way that you actually hit great streaks, have you hit bad streaks? Of thinking, the last 50 pages I have to strike.
Absolutely, absolutely. There was a point in this book where I realized I had taken a bad turn, and it was just about 8 months of work. And I realized to really get to where you need to go, sometimes you must run through the other options. There was no way that I could have gotten to that point had I not spent those 8 months. They're invisible, they're not in the book, but I needed to spend them in order to be to get to where I was, yeah.
And does that mean that way you keep your sense of equilibrium because you know that it's not in vain?
Hemingway used the metaphor of, and it's very correct, of an iceberg. Even if you only see it with writing, sometimes you'll only see the tip. Everything else will be cut, but that there's a sense of weight underneath the water. The real world is there, even though it's not going to be in there verbatim. What you've done, it's not in vain.
But still I was lonely. It was Boris I missed, the whole impulsive mess of him. Gloomy, reckless, hot-tempered, appallingly thoughtless. Boris, pale and pasty, with his shoplifted apples and his Russian language novels, gnawed down fingernails and shoelaces dragging in the dust. Boris, budding alcoholic, fluent cursor in 4 languages, who snatched food from my plate when he felt like it and nodded off drunk on the floor, face red like he'd been slapped.
When you want people to read your books, what do you want them to read them for?
Well, first I want them to have fun. Reading's no good unless it's fun. But what I always want is, it's the one quality I look for in books, and it's very hard to find, but I love that childhood quality of just that gleeful, greedy reading, can't get enough of it, what's happening to these people, the breathless kind of turning of the pages. That's what I want in a book. But I also want something that's well constructed too. I like to be able to drop down in... Dickens goes so fast, he goes like lightning, but at the same time, any sentence you can lift up and it's a marvel and it's a miracle. So to me, I want those 2 qualities, the 2 qualities of any great art, density and speed, density and speed.
But you also bring secrets. You bring secrets. Your books are about secrets.
I guess they are. I never thought about that. But I guess all books are about secrets.
Yes.
All books have mysteries at their heart. Every book has some secret. There's always a secret.
Donna Tartt, thank you very much.
Thank you.